Welcome to the action plan blueprint for week number 5, the rapid fat shred. This is an amazing week here because really the goal is to not only maintain 90% compliance with all the habits since you've been building up since week 1, but to burn as much fat as possible. Yes, much fat as possible. And this week, everything we're going to do is to really get the body to the point where it's not only burning fat, but it's shifting its fat burning process to get the body to that point where it can only function off of fat, because the window of opportunity will only allow it to happen that way. And I'm going to explain more what that means, because I know I'm kind of being very generic and not so specific yet, but I will in a second here. So the week 5 mindset accountability plan, it's pretty much exactly the same. I mean, these are your foundation habits from the first 4 weeks. And really, if we didn't have these foundation habits, all this other stuff we're doing now is pointless. And if you're not getting 90% compliance in these other areas, focus on those first, because we're adding all these nutrition fat loss strategies, all these new techniques in, and again, they're all pointless unless you don't if you don't have all these in. So imagine week 1 if I just said, start doing all these new things that we're adding in last week and this week, and make sure you're compliant 90% to all these habits. Imagine if I added all this in at the same time, you'd be very overwhelmed, and that's why we can't add, and I would never add any fat loss strategies specifically until you got these other ones down, and that's really, really important here. And they're very basic and simple, and I know you're probably already hitting that 90%, 100% compliance anyway. So couple of fat loss rules we're going to add in place here. We'll go over that here in a second. But let's jump into the real nitty-gritty here, the nutrition plan. This is where we're going to make some shifts here to really speed the metabolic rate and use and apply some brand new fat loss strategies that are going to really work awesome here for you. So a lot of people, not a lot of people, some people may experience not a great amount of fat loss and weight loss in either week 4 or week 5, or may not lose any weight. And that's a lot of times because their body is still being saturated into the ketogenic state, meaning that their body still is not fully in that ketogenic state because of possibly too many carbs still and whatnot. So one of the goals here this week is to make sure that if you are not yet exactly sure about how many macros you're getting, like 75% fat, 20% protein, 5% carbs. If you're not sure if you're in those ranges, one of the things I'm going to have you do this week and the following week for this phase is get more specific now, is to track everything and calculate your metabolic needs. So first, I want you to know and track your macros. This is how we can take it to the next level. This is how I've always done it with my clients. I don't immediately have them track their macros. I tell them about their macros, but I don't have them necessarily track them 100% of the time. So now we can track them even better. So your food plan is going to stay 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% or less in carbs. So not everyone should be consuming the same amount of grams per day of fat and carbs and protein. I mean, it's not just a general thing. And initially, I had said, 125, 150 grams of fat, right? Now it's time to get more specific. So fat loss strategy number 1 is calculate your true metabolic needs. So this week, you're going to calculate your individual metabolic needs of calories and all your macros. And the best way to know what they are is by going to this website. So click that link there, okay? And you're going to go to this page here. You're going to find, it says, once you put your info in there, what your BMR is, what your basic metabolic weight, how many calories you need per day to maintain your weight is, and slightly lose weight because you are in this different macro range. Then look at the goal section, and I want you to choose the large caloric deficit, 30% deficit here. Now, this is going to be really important here. Choose that large deficit. So you're going to see it's going to say, and by the way, if you're listening to me here, I would pause this and just go to this section now and get your macros. Get your macros. Know what it's going to be specifically, okay? So the question is, why am I going to lower my caloric intake by 30%? Aren't I going to be in this state where, I'm burning muscle too? I mean, can I lose muscle if I lower caloric intake? And Patrick, you promised and told me, we're not going to lower calories. Well, you're right. It's a bad idea to lower calories because lowering calories does slow metabolism and does result in adapting to a new metabolism. And that's why every other diet out there does what? They lower calories. That's how they lose weight. And yes, it is true you can lose weight by losing calories. But we're going to do it in a very strategic way, very scientific, strategic way that's different than anything else you'll see out there. It's something, excuse me, called carb cycling, carb and calorie cycling, where pretty much we're going to refeed the body. Here's what we're going to do. Once a week, on Saturday, specifically Saturday, you're going to eat 2 to 3 times more calories than you normally would eat. Yes, more. Now, I say 2 to 3. So right now, if you're eating on Sunday through Friday, your caloric needs are about, let's say, 1,200 calories. And you can see on the right-hand side, I'm looking at this. You're going to double 24 to 3,600 calories. Now, that does double or triple. Triple is not bad. More is actually beneficial. Okay? So Sunday through Friday, you're going to lower your intake by 30%, which is about 400 to 600 calories, depending on how much your individual needs are. And Saturday, you're going to reload those calories in the body that you lost. You're going to reload them in there completely. All right? So by the end of the week, you really did not lose those calories. You're just kind of banking them during the end of the week. So you're going to put your body in this really high-intensity fat loss state with this ketogenic state. And at the end of the week, you're putting them back in. I mean, you're not losing them. Does that make sense? So you're going to get those caloric needs. You're just putting them in the end of the week. It's a very amazing process and strategy that works when done right. But the only way you can do it right is by calculating them through some type of tracker, right? So how are we going to track all these things? Well, go to an app. You can do it on your phone. Download it. It's called MyFitnessPal, my favorite, and just put all your caloric calories you eat per day in there. And in fact, you can store your breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. That way you just click a button and it puts it in there what you ate automatically. Plus, you're going to know your fiber intake, your carbs, fats, and proteins intake. You're going to know everything, right? So that's why I want you to do that this week. I want you to track it that way. That's probably the most efficient way for you to track everything so you don't have to guess. So why are we going to overload the body? Well, we're forcing the body to go to out of homeostasis. It's so used to this low-carb mentality that the moment you put food inside of it, it's going to actually respond in a different way. It's going to actually reset your thyroid. It's going to increase your leptin levels. And usually if someone stops losing weight, it's because they went on a low-carb diet too long, or the body just needs a change so it can produce more leptin again. And leptin's the hormone that tells the body whether it's going to burn fat or store it. Leptin. So we want to reset those leptin levels. Plus, putting glycogen back in the body will reset your glycogen tanks and systems and your energy burning, fat burning systems. And it just works that way. And I'm saying this in the layman's terms. There's so much more science behind it. But this is just how I like to explain it. So again, this day, no fat. Get rid of the fat. Protein and carbs only. As many meals as possible. There's no restriction. There's no 3 times. There's no 7 times. There's no 12 to 8 window. Whatever you want to eat any time of the day, even at nighttime, is fine. Consume at least 1 gram of carbs per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 180, 180 grams of carbs. That's probably way too low anyway. Just know that's the absolute minimum. All right? But there's no restriction. 200, 250, 300 carbs is fine. Again, the more the better. There's no guilt in having more carbs. Clean carbs. No cheat meal. There's no cheat day here. It's a lot more rice, brown rice. It's a lot more, oatmeals, which is fine. Putting the grain in there is okay. That is completely fine. Okay? So let's jump into real specifics here. This is example breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner of how you can get 210 grams of carbs in. It came out to 210 grams. Very easy to get carbs in. Fruit. Yes, you can have fruit. Absolutely. Put it in there as many times as you'd like. All right, but make sure it's with protein. Never have fruit alone. Everything you're having here is with protein. So you're having a protein and fat meal. Protein and fat meal, not a fat meal. I'm sorry, protein and carb meal. There's no fat in here. So make sure you never have the carbohydrate alone because you don't want to spike your blood sugar. Make sense? Cool. So again, caloric tracker. That's how you're going to track everything. And on this carbohydrate day where you're having protein and carbs, on this day where you're having a carb cycling and carb uh, back in the diet, you want to make sure that you plan ahead. Don't just go into the day on Saturday and be like, yeah, I'm going to hope I get 3,000 calories today. No, it never works out that way. You got to plan ahead. Put it in there yourself. Put it in exactly and write down what you're going to eat that day to add it up. I mean, on Friday or Thursday or even Sunday when you're planning, plan out what you're going to eat and see in the tracker in the MyFitnessPal if it adds up to that many calories. Okay? If it doesn't, eat more or add more. Don't just guess. Fat loss strategy number 3, 8-hour feeding window, 4 times per week on any days this week. So any days this week, you're going to eat in an 8-hour window. A lot of benefits behind this. I'm not going to go into detail. You can see all the benefits behind it, but you're going to close your window down. That way you can limit the amount of processing of food your body has to do, because whenever it eats, you actually stop burning fat. Yes, because you have to process the food and break down what you just ate. So if you limit the window, you're actually going to see a higher health and fat loss aid benefit. Intermittent fasting is amazing. It helps improve your insulin and leptin levels sensitivity, helping the body burn more fat efficiently, helps increase mental clarity, overall energy levels. And in a 2013 review, basically those that in this review, and there's tons of them, but the benefits were extraordinary. You can see them here: limiting inflammation, reducing LDL, and all these other amazing things here just by fasting. Now, I hate the word fasting because people think, oh, you're not going to eat as many calories. No, you're in that 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. window, that 8-hour window. You're still going to eat the same amount of calories you ate in the morning time to 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., but you're just limiting that window. That's really it. So you're not limiting calories whatsoever. So keep in mind that if you're having a hard time doing this as well, simply just change the feeding window. It is okay to say I'm going to have a 9-hour window, right? Or a 10-hour window, right? It's fine. If this is going to stress you out right now by doing that, fine. Just make it a 10-hour window or 9-hour window. It's still better than your current 15-hour window you're having now. But what I highly recommend, best instruction I'm going to give you, is to make an 8-hour window. And if you want to make it a 7 or 6 or 5-hour window, there is a higher aid in fat loss, because you're not allowing your body to burn fat. You're allowing your body to burn fat in a smaller, in a higher window. Okay, in between. So you're having 20 hours of fasting, or 18 hours of 19 hours, 20 hours of fasting. So those 4 or 5-hour window is such a small window. It's harder. It's a lot harder. Okay, but I know it's something that for some people, it works better for more effective fat burning. Okay, so take a look here. Read that list. Read that list here of how and why intermittent fasting works without burning or losing any kind of calories. Okay, so take a look at that here. Now, keep in mind the sample meal schedule. Again, you can make up your own. But what I recommend is keeping it on the dot. 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, or maybe 3 meals. 12, 3, 6. But you're going to have to just really increase those calories in those meals. Okay, it's really important. Now, here's a big question. Should I still have my fatty coffee? Can I still have my fatty coffee? No, you will not have it before 12 noon. Okay, but if you want it, you can still have it at 12 noon. It's fine. If it's going to help you get your fatty coffee and have it at 12 noon, that's fine. And then eat your real meal at 1 o'clock. However you want to do that, that's fine. Now, can I change my feeding hour window from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.? Absolutely yes. Some people that works better. Some people, they're better off eating something when they wake up and they're done eating at 3 p.m. But the fasting window is still increased from 3 p.m. to the next 7 a.m. Does that make sense? You can tweak with that. But the standard in IF, in intermittent fasting, 8-hour window is 12 to 8 p.m. Okay, but maybe you want to have lunch at 11 a.m., so make it 11 to 7. So does it have to be consistent every day or in the 4 days a week this week? No. You can tweak around however you like to. But just don't go crazy. Don't switch it every single time. Plan it out still, 11 to 7. And, if one day you need to eat a little earlier at, let's say, 10 a.m., fine. Eat a little bit earlier, that's fine. But just make sure you stop eating at that 7-hour or 8-hour marker. Make sense? All right, cool. Those are the big nutritional shifts. Now, again, you're still eating the regular food that we usually eat, right? The protein, the fat, high fat meals, except we're just narrowing the window, and that's it. Okay, we're gonna just track it through the tracker, eat it to be more efficient. There's nothing really changing that you don't already do now that you don't already know. We're just making some shifts. That's why this week it's a big change, but also it's kind of like, hey, that's not that bad. I can make those changes. I just have to be more specific now. Now, here's good news. Maybe bad news for some of you. There's no more weighing in. Yep, no more weighing in. We're not going to weigh in between now and the end of the program, but we will weigh in on the 6-week marker. Okay, so now the focus is just going to be on this high intensity here and your habits. That's it. I know that's good news for some of you and maybe not so good for others. So again, the goal, 90% compliant. So if you need to adjust anything on this Nutrition Living Lean Checklist food plan, adjust it. Now the calories here, you see I put track calories, macros, percentages of 75, 25, 5. If you are 5% in that difference in the range, let's say you hit 70% fat, that's fine. If you're at 80% fat, fine. Okay, you can have that grace period. It's fine. It's not a big deal. The one thing that you want to make sure you do, though, is hit 25 carbs or less per day. That's huge. And for some people to hit true ketosis, they might need to hit 20 or less or 15 or less. So if you didn't lose any weight this week, one of the reasons why is maybe you need to lower your your carbs this week a little bit. And how are we going to do that is by putting them into the tracker. You're going to know, man, I didn't realize that this much vegetables had this many carbs. I was actually having 30 carbs this week. Man, and you don't know that until you put it into the tracker. That's why we can be a lot more specific now this week. And you can make those adjustments. And make those adjustments in this calendar here, in the checklist, the food plan. And write out, that's why I'm giving you the edited document where you can edit it. And you can put, this week my goal was 20 carbs per day, okay? And it's going to make a lot of sense for you, okay? Here we go. Week 5, exercise plan. The goal is to continue week 5, 10-minute bodyweight revolution program, but increase the intensity. Now you know how to do these exercises. You know exactly how to do them. You can continue doing workout A. You're going to do better, more efficiently, and you're going to work a lot more to challenge yourself this week. So here's another strategy. Fat loss strategy number 4, the depletion workout. Dun, dun, dun. What is this? Well, now that we're putting your body in this fat-burning state, we want to deplete more of that last bit of glycogen in the system, right? We really, really do. And we want to do this specifically 5 minutes a day. Okay, 5 minutes a day, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But the depletion workout is going to be 30 minutes long, okay? 30 minutes long. You'll do the following workout from the Bodyweight Revolution program. You're going to combine workout A for the upper body, workout A, lower body workout, and then the HIIT A workout. So the workouts that you already have done during the week, basically, here's what's going to happen. Saturday morning, you're going to wake up. You're going to do upper body A, lower body A, HIIT A without any rest. Boom, boom, boom. 30 minutes long. Yes, it's going to be hard work. Yes, you're going to be exhausted. Yes, you're going to actually be burning mostly and all fat during this workout because that is the end of the week's peak when you're at the lowest glycogen depletion point because you have been at this lower carb state Monday through Saturday. And then you're about to carb up. You're about to increase the carbs that day. So we want to deplete every little bit of glycogen we have left. Okay? That's going to be hardcore. All right? Then you're going to have carbs. You're going to be depleted. You're going to put the carbs back in the system and refeed that body, okay? And you're going to love those carbs that day as well. So this is a Saturday morning workout. Now, the daily 5-minute metabolic burst. This is what I was mentioning as well here. Every day for 5 minutes. At the end of the day, doesn't matter when you do it. Maybe it's at 12 noon. Maybe it's at 7 p.m. You're going to pick 2 HIIT exercises and go back and forth between 50 seconds of hard work and 10 seconds of rest between them, okay? You're going to do these for a total of 5 minutes, so 5 times. So 50 seconds of mountain climbers, 10 seconds of transition time, sprinting in place 50 seconds. That's 2 times. We're going to do it again 5 times. Pick any 2 exercises that you want to do. but we want to deplete the body. We want to increase this metabolic intensity and do a burst so we can burn additionally more calories when you're sleeping, later in the day, and jumpstart the metabolism a second time in the day. And it's only 5 minutes. I mean, it takes 5 minutes just to brush your teeth. Maybe 3 minutes, but 5 minutes. So it's just adding in another 5 minutes. So this is the intensity, right? This next 7 days, you're just adding a little more intensity. And I know you can fit it in. And if you're going to have a hard time fitting this in 5 minutes, just put it into your calendar. At 7 p.m. every night, I'm going to do this 5 minutes. And don't just kind of wing it and think you can do it whenever you fit it in. It's not going to work. Okay? So that's the exercise plan. We're adding a little more intensity. Okay, that's the nutrition plan. To recap, there's no more weighing in, right? We're going to start the intermittent fasting process only 4 times this week. 4 times this week. And just trying it out. When's my best times is going to work for me? 12 to 8 p.m.? Is it 11 to 7 p.m.? Okay, is it 1 to 9 p.m.? Doesn't matter, but you can figure out that sample meal schedule for yourself, okay? And you're going to carb up, okay, Saturday. That's that carb cycling technique, that fat strategy here. And you're going to calculate your macros better. You're going to lower them by 30%. Your exact calorie intake, you're going to know, you're going to lower them by 30% this week. You're going to track that using, hopefully, the calorie app on your phone. And that's pretty much it. That's the week 5 rapid fat shred next 2-week phase here. Next week's phase is going to be very similar as well, so it's the good news. And I look forward to seeing your success. And let's get them this week. Let's rock and roll. Talk to you soon.